Welcome back to Rock Doc Shorts. We have another kick-ass episode of the greatest music producers. Get ready and hold on. Let's get into it. Edwin H. Kramer, born April 19th, 1942, is a South African-born recording producer and engineer. He has collaborated with several artists who are now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, including Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, David Bowie, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Eric Clapton, the Kinks, Kiss, John Mellencamp, and Carlos Santana, as well as records for other well-known artists in various genres. Kramer's professional path began in London in the early 1960s, where he worked at studios like Advision, Pi, and Olympic Sound Studios. At Olympic, he engineered sessions for iconic acts such as the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Traffic, honing his skills under mentors like Keith Grant. His big break came in 1967 when he began working with Jimi Hendrix, engineering albums like Are You Experienced?, Axis, Bold as Love, and Electric Ladyland. This collaboration not only defined Kramer's career, but also revolutionized rock guitar soundscapes, with innovations like backwards guitar effects showcasing Hendrix's genius and Kramer's technical prowess. In 1968, Kramer moved to New York City to continue working with Hendrix, contributing to the design and construction of Electric Ladyland Studios alongside architect John Story, a groundbreaking facility commissioned by Hendrix himself. As an independent producer and engineer, Kramer's resume expanded to include seminal works like Led Zeppelin's Led Zeppelin II, Houses of the Holy, and Physical Graffiti, as well as Kisses Alive, an album that cemented Kiss's breakthrough status. He also engineered the 1969 Woodstock Festival, capturing its chaotic brilliance over a sleepless 3-day stint. You might not know his face, but you definitely know his amazing body of work. From rock anthems to pop sensations, his magic touch is everywhere. Born with a natural ear for music, Eddie started mixing tracks in his basement as a teen. Fast forward a few years, and he's producing chart toppers for major artists. Talk about a badass. One of Eddie's secrets, he blends electronic elements with classic instruments, creating a fresh yet familiar sound. His attention to detail is legendary. He'll spend hours tweaking a single note until it's perfect. But Eddie's not just technical. He's got heart. His passion for music and his genuine care for the artists he works with set him apart. Artists often call him the musician's producer because he truly understands their vision. So next time you're jamming out to your favorite hit, give a nod to Eddie Kramer. He's the genius behind the music. Thanks for tuning in to Rock Doc Shorts. Hit that like button and subscribe for more cool stories from the music world. Peace.
We are back with another kick-ass episode of Rock Doc Shorts. When you think of your favorite band, what comes to mind? The singer, the guitar player? There's another member of the band, the producer. Here's a short about one of the greats. Let's dive into Rick Rubin. The guy's a legend in music production. Born in 1963 in New York, he started out as this punk-loving kid who co-founded Def Jam Records from his NYU dorm. Wild, right? He's the mastermind behind that raw, stripped-down sound, like with Run DMC's Walk This Way, blending rap and rock when no one else dared. Rubin's got this knack for pulling the best out of artists, from metal with Slayer's Rain in Blood to Johnny Cash's late-career Gut Punch, the American Recordings series. He's worked with everyone. Beastie Boys, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Adele, just look at Blood Sugar Sex Magic or 21. His style? Minimalist, focused, all about feel over flash. No fancy gear, just vibes, sometimes producing in flip-flops and a beard that screams, I don't care. He's won Grammys, shaped genres, and still, he's this zen-like figure obsessed with making music hit you right in the soul. Rick Rubin's proof you don't need to shout to change the game. Thanks, music fans, for joining us at Rock Doc Shorts. Just remember, it's better to burn out than fade away. Smash that like and subscribe button. Peace.
Welcome back, all of you rock and roll headbangers. It's another episode of The Greatest Music Producers. Today, let's talk about a legend behind the soundboard, Michael Wagener, the German-born rock music producer who didn't start behind the soundboard. He started with a guitar. Born in 1949 in Hamburg, Wagener was the original guitarist for the metal band Accept. But at 18, life threw a curveball. He was drafted into the West German Army and stationed 350 miles from home. Practicing with Accept became impossible, so he quit the band. After his military service, Wagener pivoted in 1972, diving into audio engineering in Hamburg. Through a friendship with singer Don Dokken, he found his calling. By the 80s, Wagener was a rock production titan. Wagener moved to Los Angeles. In 1981, he produced the first Dokken album and would go on to produce such seminal albums as Skid Row's self-titled debut, which sold 5 million copies in the U.S. alone. Wagener also mixed Metallica's 1986 classic Master of Puppets. He also engineered the single version of Janet Jackson's Black Cat, his only pop collaboration. His sound, massive guitars, thunderous drums, and soaring vocals, Motley Crue, Dokken, and White Lion all leaned on his magic touch. Wagener's genius was in the details, hours spent perfecting every tone. In the 90s, he built Wireworld Studio in Nashville. Well, really just outside of Nashville, in the home of Charlie Daniels. You can look that up. Here's a quote from the legend himself. "Some bands are very open-minded and you can make suggestions about musical changes or ideas, and they will pick it up and make it their own. Others don't want a lot of outside influences because they are scared it would take away from their creativity or credit. In those cases, if you want to achieve a certain result, you have to plant a creative seed, which in a few days will turn into the result you are looking for, but it still seems like it was all the idea of the musician, him, herself. The downside, of course, is that the musician looks at it as if he did all the work, and the producer didn't really do anything. The logical next step for those kind of musicians is to produce their next album themselves, their ego telling them they don't need a producer, and like in the above-mentioned case, they might fall flat on their face and come up with an album that doesn't sell anywhere near what the previous one did. Even now at 75, he's mixing and mentoring, keeping rock alive. From Accept's early riffs to Sunset Strip anthems, Wagener's journey screams rebellion. The next time you got your balls to the wall, tip your hat to the man who made it roar. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Rock Doc Shorts. Please go and hit that subscribe button. That way you can always be updated when we drop another Rock Doc Short or a Here It Is Rock Doc. Peace. Welcome back to Rock Doc Shorts. It's a spotlight episode. We are calling it The Greatest Music Producers. Today, let's talk about a legend behind some of the biggest hits in rock and pop, Ted Templeman. Born on October 24th, 1942 in Santa Cruz, California, Templeman didn't just produce music, he shaped the sound of entire decades. From Van Halen to the Doobie Brothers, his ear for melody and knack for capturing raw energy made him a powerhouse in the studio. Ted started as a musician himself, drumming and singing for the band Harper's Bazaar in the 60s. They scored a hit with the 59th Street Bridge song, Feelin' Groovy, but Ted's real calling came when he swapped the drumsticks for the producer's chair. Hired by Warner Brothers in the early 70s, he quickly made a name for himself. His secret? A blend of precision and instinct. He knew how to polish a song without stripping its soul, something artists loved him for. Take the Doobie Brothers. Ted produced their 1972 album Toulouse Street, giving us classics like Listen to the Music. He tightened their sound, blending rock with a laid-back California vibe. Then there's Van Halen. Ted discovered them in a dive bar and produced their explosive 1978 debut with Eddie's guitar fireworks and David Lee Roth's swagger front and center. Tracks like Runnin' with the Devil and You Really Got Me still define rock radio. This is your moment in the spotlight. Go and hit the like, share, subscribe, and notifications bell. We at Here It Is Rock Docs appreciate your support. He didn't stop there. Ted also worked with Nicolette Larson producing her hit Lotta Love, and later teamed up with Eric Clapton and Aerosmith, proving his range went way beyond one genre. Ted Templeman's magic was in his balance. He could make a band sound huge but keep their personality intact. Over his career, he racked up dozens of gold and platinum records, earning a spot as one of the most influential producers of the 20th century. Now in his 80s, he's stepped back, but his work still blasts through speakers worldwide. So next time you crank up Van Halen or hum a Doobie Brothers tune, tip your hat to Ted, the guy who made it all sound so good. Thanks again for joining us here at Rock Doc Shorts. Peace.